Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Drones, powered by Women in Drones. I'm Desi Ekstein, the drone diva, and I am excited to have Dr. Lori Paluti here with us today. She is the founder of Pittsburgh Drone Services, and she has so many great stories to tell with us today. I am excited for her to share with us, but I particularly love hearing the story of how she got started. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Lori. Share with us a little bit more about yourself. We want to welcome you here. And I want to share here, maybe share with the audience how you got started. I love this story.
Thank you, Desi. Well, my journey was kind of unusual. It didn't obviously start out in my career in drones. Aviation was about as far from my mind as it could ever be when I was career planning my entire life. My initial goal was to actually be a medical doctor. So with that, as I progressed in my high school years, things got difficult, especially with math. So I had to make a career choice again. So I said, well, what's the closest thing I could get to medicine? And that was health and physical education. And I really liked helping people feel better about themselves. And so I majored in health and physical education. So I went through college, I graduated, and I went right into entrepreneurship from college. I didn't go into the school and teach immediately, which, I was glad I took the path I did because it was a first of my kind. And at that time, entrepreneurship was not as big as it is today. Was kind of not the thing that you say out publicly. You kind of kept it quiet that you were just a small business owner, not a risk taker. So I made my mom my business manager, went out and got some gigs, doing some in-home personal training. I had my first business. I bootstrapped my first business. And I went out and the internet was just pretty much just coming out. So I was relying on instant messenger to attract clients and some very small marketing budget. But somehow I had a great business. I was doing corporate sites, I was doing presentations, I was doing in-home personal training, I was doing group fitness classes, and I really loved my business. I had it for 10 years. And then what happened is someone had been talking to me one day and said, "You're really good at what you do and all this good stuff, right?" So they said, "Why don't you go into higher education? And it's a little more stable than being in, trying to always hustle." So I said, "Oh, well, might as well give it a try." And I did. I was still trying to run my business and teach part time. And obviously, that's a very difficult thing to do. You either have to give your business a full attention or you have to give your teaching career full attention. So what was happening is more competitors were coming in the area, which was kind of that, I guess, that nudge to move to the other side. So I did, and I gave up my business. And at that point, I was teaching health and physical education at the college level. Enjoyed it, had a real great time with my students. Really liked doing that. I was managing the fitness center, athletic facilities. But at the back of my mind, after putting some years in with that calling always comes back to you of who you were and the voice of the entrepreneur, as I always say. So you listen to that voice, but eventually one day that voice gets stronger. And I woke up one morning and very out of the blue, I said, "I just can't do this anymore." So I met an appointment with my college president, sat down with her, explained to her what was happening. And she wasn't too happy about that because that meant the loss of an employee. But she said, she says, "What are you really interested in? What do you want to do?" I said, "I was out this weekend and I found this little toy drone and I'm finding it really interesting." I said, "I'm into technology and I really like tech." And she said, well, I just lost my aviation coordinator. Would you be interested in doing that uh, one semester? And I said, sure, I'll give it a try. And as I was working that job, I was writing curriculum. We obviously didn't have a curriculum yet. We didn't have certification or any budget. So I knew this was a very terminal ending at the very end of this one semester gig. So I said, okay, I can't go back. So I'll give it a try. And I really liked it. But what was frustrating was it was a very slow process to get to where we are today. But when that semester was up, I got my first contract, which was surprising. I didn't even have the business yet. I just had a contract with somebody said, I really like the fact you like these flying drones. And so I said, okay, I've got a curriculum in one hand and equipment, and let's give it a try. So we did. And after that first contract, I said, it's time to make this formal. We have to make this a formal business now. And so I did. First year in business, and COVID hits. So I said, you know what? This is really interesting because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm used to risks and things that can fail. And so I developed a business plan, and I had my first client. And with that, I said, there's no turning back. I can't go back to where it was. Door was closed, and it wasn't just closed, it was locked.
Mm.
So I said, I can't go back. What am I going to do? I can't sit and cry about it. So I said, I'm going to do anything I can to save my business. And so I did. I worked long nights, long days, frustrating because COVID was keeping us indoors and I couldn't meet up with clients until I got another call. And it was a school and they said, we need an online curriculum. Can you write us an online curriculum and teach it? Wow, was I happy. Saved by the bell. So with that, I read the curriculum. We started coming out of COVID, back in business again. I was still going to the office, mask on and everything, and still trying to find a way to keep surviving, to keep this business because it had really until I got into education, it was the only thing I knew, was being an entrepreneur. And it was my calling. So I had no choice but to try and save my business, and I'm so glad to where I am today.
Awesome. Awesome. So tell us that story. And so I have to admit, she and I have had a conversation offline, but I absolutely love the story where you actually got your first drone. That is just so fun to me. So
Well, that
that
first
started
drone,
all of it, right?
yeah, that's what started it all. Was the journey was there was a journey before that journey, and what actually kicked everything off was I got lost on a hike. And I was with a friend of mine, and you know how it is. Your friend says, go this way. And I say, no, that's the wrong way. We need to go this way.
Mm.
Well, my way, of course, was the wrong way. So I'll fess up to that. It was my fault. So we got lost. And then finally, when we got off the trail, we got back on the highway. And I said, you know what? I think we're lost again, but I'm not giving directions this time. So we got lost. We pulled off the road to this funny looking shaped building, and it was the shape of an airplane,
Love
and it was
that.
a toy store. And so we went in. It had the door on the toy store was like an airplane door. And we opened this door, not knowing what we're going to walk into. And the kids were playing with everything in the toy store you're allowed to play with. So I was like, wow, I'm glad I'm lost because I could sit here and play all day. So they were flying this little tiny quadcopter around the store, and I had no idea what it was. Any drone I knew was a military drone, and that's the only thing I knew. So they're flying it around, and I said, "Boy, that's cute." I said, "What is it?" And they said, "It's a drone." I said, "That's silly. That's not a drone. That's a toy." So long story short, I bought it. It was $45 for this little tiny drone because they were just coming out on the market. So I go outside and they're flying the Phantom One. This is how far we're going back. And the Phantom One is up way up in near the clouds. And I was just, oh, I was taking it all in. I just love this technology. What is this? This is so cool. So I said, "Well, how much is that drone? I'll take that one instead of this little one." Thing is only about $20, $30. Well, that's up in the thousands. So that was definitely not coming home with me that day. So we get back in the car, we get back home, and I was playing around with this thing. I crashed it, smashed the propellers on it. And I said, "This is so cute. I'm taking it to work with me Monday." So I did. And I met up with some of the engineers that worked at the college, and they said, "Well, that's a quadcopter drone," and they explained it to me, and I just got more and more fascinated with it because it's just like it's like Nintendo is to kids. It's sparkling, it's lights. So I said, "Well, I'm getting into tech now. I got to learn more about this little quadcopter." So as we move along with that interest, I got more and more interested. So they were having local makers fairs in my area. And I said, "Well, I'm going to take something totally new. I'm going to take this little drone." And I was getting PVC pipes from the Home Depot and Lowe's and having them custom cut them for me so I could make gates, racing gates. And I got pool noodles. I talked to the manager of the Dollar General store, and she said, "I'll give them all to you for 50 cents."
Oh.
So I said, "That's cool. I'll take them all." So I made my own gates, and I went out, applied to be in the Makers Fair, and I showcased my wares, put everything on the table, and started to introduce people to it. But at that time, there wasn't a commercial side to it yet. This was just a technology. So as I got more and more deeper into trying following the FAA's updates, and we're going to commercialize this, I started getting more into writing curriculum for it. And really, the hardest thing for me was actually getting into the communities and introducing people to it, because people had the thought that this thing was dangerous. It was out there to do nefarious things. So I begged Barnes and Noble to come into their store with all I had was a folding table and all these pipes. I mean, I don't know if they thought I was going to play to be a bagpipe player or what, but I just went in there and I said, "I'm going to give it my all, whether they kick me out or not. I'm going to give it my all and ask." So they did. They allowed me to come in and set up my table, and I was introducing people to this. And it was really the start of the entire journey. Was educating was people was the first thing, because it would have never worked without that.
Yeah.
Um, it would never been where it is today.
Ah. And it all started because you were lost.
Exactly. And I
And so
said,
maybe you weren't really lost. You were where you needed to be.
and that was the funny thing, is when I look back on that, I hold that little tiny drone in my hand, and when I talk about it, I said, when I walked out of that toy store, I never dreamed that that was going to be my new life journey. And I would be where I am today in a skyscraper trying to still sell this dream.
Yeah.
That would never even entered my mind. I had been happy in my job. I thought I was just going to retire eventually from that job. And I really enjoyed that job. But entrepreneurship is kind of crazy at times, the way that it sort of kind of jabs at you, and it steers you or guides you to where it wants you to go. And
Mhm.
I'm glad I did because when COVID hit, I would have lost my job, my original job. It would have just been phased out. So it was sort of like a premonition to when that voice says go, you better go, because
Exactly.
it's guiding you. That's like a
Yeah.
guiding light. Always say it's a guiding light.
Yes. Yes. So it does open up many more topics and questions that I want to ask. But one thing that you really hit on was that feeling of this new drone has just inspired you. It has taken your life in a whole different direction. And that is why STEM and training and education and outreach is so vital. So that being said, I know you have an event coming up and it's just an amazing opportunity to get those drones into students' hands. So tell us a little bit about Fly Like a Girl.
Well, Fly Like a Girl was a very it's just like entrepreneurship. It was born and it was born from a vision that three assistant superintendents had, and that was to get girls into more leadership positions and to introduce them to a new form of technology that the percentages for women were very low. So imagine this, you have three assistant superintendents who are high in academia, who never knew about drones, never flew a drone, but had a great vision. And so we teamed up together, and we brought forth this program for young girls, high school girls, to come through the academy and learn the FAA drone curriculum to become certified drone pilots.
Mm.
And they provided this program for free, and they still provide the program for free. We extended our registration deadline for the summer cohort. We're going to run it for 1 week in July. And then with that, we're going to pretty much run the cohort again, possibly in the fall. So with that, we had a vision, and that vision was STEM careers. We had so many girls come through the academy that earned their certification. It was
Yay.
just amazing.
Mhm.
And what was even more amazing is when girls come in by school districts, they all sit together, right? So what they like to do is on the first day, our one assistant superintendent, she likes to get the girls into different groups. So she has a wonderful icebreaker she uses, and she moves the girls into these different groups so they get to know each other. And it's really worked. The girls got really interested with each other, which is really kind of a tearjerker for me is when I see them helping each other, and helping each other to fly the drone. And we fly DJI Matrice, not Matrice, the Mavic 3s. So the girls are learning on industry equipment. They're not just out there flying, plastic drones, toy drones. And it's all free for the girls. They provide breakfast for them, they provide lunch for them. We have online material, website where the girls can go and get additional practice material. They pay for your certification exam. And I always say, if I was a girl, this would, at that time, this would have been overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
I would have just jumped on this opportunity.
Yeah.
And we've had so many girls pass through the academy that have gone on to careers in STEM fields, aerospace engineering, mechanical engineering, media, journalism. And I still, the girls still stay in touch with us. So we have that close connection with them, even though they're in college, and we still maintain contact with them. So we're not like a one and done academy. We maintain contact with these young ladies so that we can continue to help them in their journey, whether it's in a drone career or a drone related career. So I think that's probably the biggest area that someone who really wasn't in the industry saw a vision, and how when we work together, how we can make a vision even better come true for all these young women, and helping them to grow professionally, helping them become better leaders, no matter what they choose, whatever career they choose. So I think that's probably the best part of that, is it's just not girls flying drones. It's really about getting girls into leadership positions and girls learning how to be leaders in STEM, and making them more confident. They have no fear, these young ladies. And I can remember trying to fly a drone when first time, and I was so scared I was going to crash this expensive drone. These girls are just wham, they just drone up in the air, no problem. And it's to me, it's remarkable, because it's always about leaving your legacy behind, and what would you like your legacy to be. And that's always the thing, is helping lead the path that they will eventually follow and take up. So I think
Love that.
that's the best part of it.
That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, so is it, if there was a young lady interested in attending, is it too late to sign up for it, or when is the event?
Well, the we're going to run. We extended our deadline to help more girls. Some girls were on vacation, so we're trying to get more girls now for the summer cohort. The summer cohort's only going to be 1 week. We extended until late July. So the deadline is July 9th, in order to make a decision whether you want to go for 1 week. And we have a partnership now with the Greater Pittsburgh International Airport. So
Woohoo!
the airport has provided us through PNC Bank, the foundation, with the funds to keep this program going in the summer, but also to give the girls even more opportunities. They're going to show them the 911 center, how they use drones,
Wow.
firefighting, how they use them at the airport. They're going to give them a tour behind the scenes of things. So they expose them to aviation careers. And they have a couple other activities they're going to bring forth for the girls when they visit on their field trip to the airport. So that's built in now through our partnership with them,
Hmm.
that we can have the girls go to the airport and learn about drones and aircraft, and realize that there's more jobs for women being pilots.
Hmm.
It's only like a couple. I always tell them, if you're going to do drones, go a little bit extra, push yourself to go a little bit more and be a private pilot,
Yeah.
and you'll have both, and you because they give scholarships all the time for women, and women say, well, I can't do that, or so we have to keep encouraging, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's this partnership is actually going to help, not them too, of helping recruit women, young women, to aviation.
Oh, I love that. Yes, yes. So while we're on the topic of women in the industry, it's exciting when I know the first thought is, oh, being a drone pilot. But like you said, there's more to it. Take that next step, being private pilot, push yourself beyond. But what are some of the opportunities that women have in the industry right now?
Well, I think what I tell a lot of young women is, I always have them start with, what are you most interested in? What do you really like to do? And reimagine that, and put a drone in there. It's like Disney World, like Disney. If you go to Disney World, it's all reimagined, right? Innovation. So pick something that you really like. And it's surprising that the girls immediately will say, well, I like journalism and I like photography and I like, I like to be outside. And I said, if you get your drone license at 16, how about some graduation parties under your belt? And you maybe charge couple $100 for your first gig, and then you get more experience, and now you're doing grad parties all the time. You're doing birthday parties. Now you're doing weddings. But I think really what helps is when women mentor them in something they're interested in. Let's say it's engineering. What can we do with engineering? Engineering is going to use drones all the time. So we try to tap into what their interest level is, and then we build upon it and show them who can we match you with that has the experience in engineering, but also can encourage you how they use drones. So we try to match carefully and constructively, so they have that experience and get to learn that. I mean, it doesn't mean I changed about 3 times. I mean,
Right.
I want to be a farmer. I started out in agriculture. I want to be a farmer. And I got all kinds of stuff about it with agriculture. And I did a couple jobs with that. Um, but I did wildlife. And then as my business got more situated into the city, there's no farms in the city. So I had to reposition in order to continue to grow the business.
Mm.
So, and then I had to switch to civil engineering. So at that point, I'm doing more geospatial mapping, and progression monitoring of properties. So I always tell them where you start is not always where you end.
Very much so. Yes, yes. So while we're on that subject, can you share a little bit about your thoughts, what it takes to survive in the industry right now?
It's a tough business, and I'm completely honest with anybody that wants to enter the industry at any level, where they want to do an entrepreneur or they want to work for somebody or be in an industry that uses drones. Drones it's a very serious business. My first business, it was fun. We had fun, we exercised, we laughed, we had a good
Mhm.
time. But this business is much more different. And this one, I think, requires even more discipline. You have to be disciplined. You have to want to get up early and work late. You have to give up a lot. You have to make sacrifices. So between making your first couple $1,000, that isn't a nice cruise on the ship. That's going to pay your rent and your electric and your business expenses. So you have to kind of get used to a little bit of the uncomfortable. Um, and I try to be as honest as I can, because if I showed them a picture of someone laying on the beach and with big bucks in their hand, it would be totally discrediting a lot. But I teach them from the very beginning, this business is about discipline. And if you don't like to follow rules and you're not disciplined to get up early and work late and give up weekends, sometimes holidays, um, that this may be, you may want to approach this industry from a different perspective. It can be very stressful at times. When we're working on a project and we just finished a massive project, we were working 24-hour days. And how we did that is some of us would sleep when other of us were up, because we had so much data to process and so much work to do. There just would not have been enough time to complete it by the deadline. So that's sometimes something you have to get used to, as well as you have to get used to the uncomfortable,
Mm.
that it's not always going to be comfortable. And there's going to be times when you really want to spend that money that you earned so hard, and you would go buy yourself something special, and you look at your desk and you say, oh no. And so that's the part where you really know if you're going to make it, is if you can make it through the hard times, and you will make it.
Stay focused and dedicated. Yeah, keep
Yes,
your eye.
dedicated is the most, because there's days when, and I hear it a lot from a lot of entrepreneurs, where today you didn't make any sales, or today you didn't make any the contacts you wanted. And it's easy and it's frustrating because a lot of times you're a sole entrepreneur and you don't have this support system. You don't have this boss to go to and vent to. You have a chair or a wall. And
Mhm.
so it's important to stay connected to local groups, where you can feel supported, because we all know it. If you isolate, you will never be successful, because you'll just keep talking negative to yourself when and things don't go your way.
Mm.
And then you have to stay involved. You have to stay involved in some capacity, join a group, go out and do events. There's a lot of events where they'll let you set up for free, and get among people. This is a people business.
Mhm.
If you're gonna make sales, you gotta be able to talk to people.
Yeah.
So when I mentor, I'm like, like putting the lions into the cage. You're gonna get the right up immediately right out of the gate when as frustrating it is. But I also give them those good positive moments too. So, and it's not always a hard thing. Some days it's a great celebration. And
It
I always say
is.
celebrate your small success.
Yes.
You reached one goal today. You got
Yeah.
up. You got up out of bed. You negative talk was talking. You chose to not listen and get up out of bed and go to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And you do have to find it in yourself. You do have to, like we said, that dedication. You have to find it in yourself and celebrate the wins. Yes.
right. You have to
Oh,
celebrate the wins. Because as one thing ends, you have to have something else coming in. Sometimes you have to gain a little bit of wind off of another industry. Sometimes I go to events that are not even in my industry, like cybersecurity or
mhm.
robotics. Now we're similar, but still no cigar as being that close. But with that, we're still connected, because we start exchanging ideas like, hey, machine learning can help you with this, and robotics can do this for you. So we're always pitching, right? We're always pitching our ideas and our thoughts, and then people get to know your name.
Yes.
That's how you make it. It's all is business. It's business.
Yes, yes. So that's actually a perfect segue into another question that I have for you is about the future of drones. What do you think, and how do you think AI will play into that? And how does that human interaction evolve with our technology?
Well, I think AI is going to, it's already in our industry, and it's already starting to make differences in our software, and the way our research. I'm involved in a lot of research. I work with a lot of research professors and help writing papers alongside with them on the research side, because I have the practical side with that. So I think eventually what we're going to see is we're going to see these drones become smaller. And I think they're going to be looking for them to be deployed more cheaper, but still deliver a powerful punch as to what the drone can actually do. We see the marvels. I could talk all day about the wonderful features that my beautiful Matrice has. But with that, we have to always think of, to grow the industry, we can't be stuck at a price point that's either a brand new car or a slightly used car in price. So I think if we can look at the markets and say we can manufacture in the United States a drone that can have full capabilities, but at a cost that is more economical to business.
Mm.
And that's always the big and I'm surprised because I talked to corporations who have gotten rid of them. And my question is why? And they always say the cost of keeping this drone, because they buy the most expensive camera, and just keeping this in-house is high maintenance. And they don't have somebody dedicated, or they just don't want to fuss with it. So I think if we can make something that is rapidly, you can deploy it in seconds, that can match the technology, we will, this industry will be blossom. I'm not real sure AI will, I completely trust it with a drone. I don't like something artificially making a decision, but eventually it will make the decision for us. So we have to either be friends now, or we're going to be enemies later. So I think we have to work as hand in hand with it. But I really think that's from the manufacturing side. I'm in Pittsburgh and we have manufacturing here. And it's always a lot of talk about how to manufacture product at a much lower cost. And
Awesome.
drones certainly fall into that. We need a more economically priced drone that can deliver.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So we're going to see it. I know we will. It's just a matter of time and all good things will come. I'm quite sure. So, all right. I want to be respectful of your time. And so I would like to wrap it up with maybe some thoughts that you may have, some words of encouragement for somebody that may be attending and watching online with us today.
Well, I would tell anyone that if you want to get into this industry, um, the thing about the drone industry is it's very user friendly to use a drone and take a picture or a video. But really, what's going to make you marketable, and really, if you're looking to do this in a commercial way, is everybody has a unique skill set. And to find something very new and innovative that you can bring to the market. And I always say business is about solving problems. So you want to come in and you want to say to that customer, how are you going to solve that problem using this technology? And if you can do that, you'll have that customer for life, because your technology can help them solve the problems or the things that they need assistance with. So I think from that, I would tell somebody to come in with something they're really interested in. We all have skills.
Mhm.
I would like a drone that could cook and clean.
Yeah,
um, but
me
I
too.
mean, I use mine in where I can't reach the dust, and I'll just send the little one up, and it'll blow the dust all off. So I think there's a way we can do it, but we have to learn. Drones have to, like robots, have to learn how to manipulate, and we don't have that yet. How they can fly, but they can't manipulate yet. So I think if someone comes up with something very innovative, think innovation, think a different way. And I tell my interns that too. I tell them, come to me. Don't ever be afraid to come to me with a new way to solve something, because it's most likely I'm going to take it on and say, go for it. Because if it can make something easier or make a practice better, I'm all for it.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I have to share. my vision when you said that, because I too do not like to cook or clean. And my husband knows that I do not cook. But would prefer I don't. But I envisioned the little fluffy things on the props and let that just do all the dusting, right? Works for me.
I
Let's just put the little fuzzy duster on the end of the props.
I think it would be, we have the Roomba that could go around on the floor,
Why not?
and yeah, we could just put it in the sky. And I saw a cute little robot in Boston about 2 years ago, and this robot could fly, and it had like a
Mm.
wingspan on it, and it would take off and it would fly around the exhibit hall. And I said, that's a drone. That's a drone. It's a human drone.
Hmm.
And so this little robot, I'm thinking, my goodness, we could probably make this into some nice entrepreneurial venture.
I like it. Awesome. Well, here we are brainstorming, right?
Exactly.
Think
Brainstorming how we're
outside the
going to do
box.
it.
Oh, well, Lori, I thank you. I thank you for sharing with us today. I love the stories. I love the inspiration. I wish you all the luck with your Fly Like a Girl and the event coming up. That sounds amazing. I will put a link into the details here for the YouTube so that if you wanted to check it out, or may I put contact for you in there as well?
I believe we have a link where they can click and just directly register for it.
There you go.
So you just
Perfect.
sign up, and I always like to throw the plug in that everything, all the food that the three assistant superintendents serve is all teen friendly.
Mm.
So they're not going to make you eat cafeteria food. You're going to get great food to eat. So if
Yeah,
that's a plus for you to join, let's get that plus on our side.
there you go. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Lori, for your time today. And
Thank you.
have fun out there flying.
Same to you, Desi. Thank you for having me tonight.
All right. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.